Hey, my name is Doug Sandler. Thanks for tuning into the video. I think one of the biggest challenges that many people have as podcasters is that they get caught up in these things, these ego metrics. And the ego metric for podcasting is, of course, how many downloads that I have. Another ego metric is how many sponsors do I have. Another ego metric might just be, how many episodes do I have out there. And I have to tell you that when it comes to building, which is the topic of our conversation today, when it comes to building a monetization monster, you've got to take the ego metric and you've got to take the head trash that makes you focus on that ego metric, and you've got to put it in the trash can. Because the reality of it is, if you have a podcast that is related somehow to your business or the service that you provide, you've got to focus, number one, on keeping that active without putting another thing in your toolbox that is a drain of your resources, your time, your effort, your energy, and your money. So how do you do that and have a podcast, especially newer podcasters that are there? How do you do that and create a message that's relevant, have a service that is connected to your show, and how do you actually make money at this thing and do it in quick order? Because many people that get into the podcasting space get in and out so quickly that they've never given themselves a chance to actually be successful. And that's because they focus on the ego metric oftentimes of how many downloads and how many sponsors do I have on the show. And you do not need either one of those things to be successful at podcasting. And it's all related to your definition of success. We've been very fortunate with the Nice Guys on Business podcast. We've done 1,300 episodes. And because I've been doing this for 7 years, I enjoy making mistakes, so much so that I've done several of them many times of the same mistake. So I want to help you avoid the monetization mistakes and help you get into the money fairly quickly, relatively quickly. That is, it's very challenging to say, okay, this will work in 1 week, or this is going to work in 6 months, or this will work in 30 days, because it's all related to your market, your offer, and your message. So let's talk about the golden opportunity oftentimes missed in podcasting that will help turn your podcast into a monetization monster. And that golden opportunity is not the audience that is listening to your show. And while it is great to have an audience that's listening to your show, I'd rather have 20 people that are actually taking action than 20,000 people that are doing absolutely nothing. The biggest challenge with a podcast audience, as you've probably seen if you've been podcasting for any short period of time, is that these people are anonymous that are listening to your show. And it's very challenging for us to get them to do anything unless we have an irresistible offer. And the challenge is you don't know necessarily when you get into podcasting what that irresistible offer is going to be for that audience member. So I would tell you, for a short period of time, ignore the idea of how large can I grow my audience and start focusing from the very beginning. Or if you're an experienced podcaster, starting right now, start focusing on the things that I'm about to tell you, these 4 ways, these 4 tools, these 4 opportunities that are oftentimes missed in the podcasting space. It's coming from the guest seat, not from your audience. So what does that mean exactly? I'd rather have a guest align with my message and align with the services that I provide and buy the things that I have, rather than an audience member, because I do have an opportunity to build a relationship with a guest. So turning a guest into a client without doing it in a bait and switch or sleazy or salesy way is a great way for you to make money from your show. So guest to client. The second way that you can make money from your guest seat, and I'll talk about that for just a moment, in just a moment. The second way that you can make money from your show is turning your guests into referral sources of what you do. Imagine putting somebody in that guest seat that's an ideal candidate to refer you to the customers or the clients that they have in their life. The third way that you can make money and you can monetize your podcast is by turning that guest into an affiliate, or you become an affiliate of the products or service that they represent. That means, do they have, or do you have for them, a product or service that complements but doesn't compete with the service that they provide? So that would be another great way for you to monetize your podcast. And the fourth category, so we have guest to client, guest to referral source, guest to affiliate. The fourth way is that catch-all category. It's, I'm not really sure where this guest fits into my life, but they seem to be a really cool person. and I really align myself with their methodologies and their purpose and their services and their products and the things that they represent. And I don't know where it is, but it may be worth a future phone call. And that's just a joint venture partnership that you have with that guest. So the guest to client, guest to referral, guest to affiliate, or guest to joint venture partnership are 4 amazing ways for you to monetize your podcast. Now, I want to talk just for a second about how do you actually find those type of people? How do I scour the market for someone that's going to sit in the guest seat that's going to be an ideal candidate for the products or services that I have to refer me business to become an affiliate or for me to want to do any future business with them? That's all in the magic of understanding how to pre-qualify someone before they sit in that guest seat. So what we've been using for the last 5 of the 7 years that we've had our show is something called a pre-qualification application. The pre-qualification application helps me listen to the words that guest, potential guest, is going to say with 2 ears. Ear number 1, are the words that they saying going to serve some value to my community? So will the people in my audience actually get value from the words that they are hearing? And can they actually buy the services that my guest is sharing? So that would be of value to both my community and to my guest. But the second ear that I want to listen to with them from or through is the ear that says, not only do they have a product or service and a message that would align with my community, but are they potentially in a position to want to buy the products or services that I have? Whether you're a coach, a consultant, whether you sell mechanical services, engineering things, plumbing, or podcast production like we do, doesn't matter. Your guest should serve 2 purposes. 1, does the message resonate with your audience that's listening? But second, do the words that they say potentially give you any idea that they would like to be a client of yours? The second way after guest to client is guest to referral source. We're using that pre-qualification application and asking the right questions on that same pre-qualification application. You can determine whether someone is potentially giving you a buying signal, or if somebody is giving you a, hey, I do the same thing or I do something similar, but I create a problem that you could potentially solve, and you could become the resolution or the solution to the problem that I solve by me referring business to you. So if you have someone that could potentially sit in the guest seat that could refer business to you, why wouldn't you want to put them in the seat? Number 1, they probably have a message that's aligned with your audience. They'll want to listen to it. But secondly, wouldn't it be also great if they serve a community that you serve as well, and you potentially could become a referral of theirs to their clients? And building a relationship with them over a course of 30 or 45 minutes would give you a great opportunity to do that. So I would highly encourage you, whether you're guest to client or guest to referral source, start pre-qualifying people to sit in that guest seat to determine whether they could potentially buy the products or services that you have, or potentially refer to you to people on their marketing list or on their email list or in their social media or in their community that could buy what you have also. The third way, that guest to affiliate, what's really nice about this is it puts you both in a position where you are now both making money. Because if somebody has a product or service, and let's say for the sake of argument or the sake of this conversation that you have an accounting podcast and someone is sitting in that guest seat that has a service that could be represented by you on the show, and you could become an affiliate for that guest because they have an accounting software as a service, and every time somebody in your community reaches out and buys the products or service that they have, you earn a small percentage or a large percentage, depending on how that affiliate relationship works from that sale. So that's an affiliate relationship. And again, it never harms you to build that relationship, and you can always pre-qualify people through that pre-qualification application. Again, that's the key to all of this, the pre-qualification application, asking the right questions to someone before you give up that coveted spot. If you do a weekly podcast, you only have 52 of those that you do. If you do them every week throughout the entire year, you only have 52 of those that you can give away. So you don't want to give too many of those away to people that potentially could not be a client, referral source, affiliate, or joint venture partner. Let me hit that last one for just a second, because I think this is an ideal catch-all for the people that aren't guest to client, guest to referral, or guest to affiliate. It's that guest to joint venture partnership. It's that guest that sits in the guest seat that not only has a great story and a great service that will resonate and be aligned with your audience to listen to, but it's someone that's sitting in that guest seat that you're like at the end of that, you know, John, I don't really know where it is that we could do something together. But I really enjoyed this conversation. Would you be open to having a follow-up to this where we could figure out maybe doing something together? And if they are agreement with that, just have a follow-up meeting. And the other three, the guest to client, guest to referral, and guest to affiliate, that's an easy series of follow-up messages that you're going to give to them. You have an opportunity over the course of the time from the time that you interview them to the time that your episode airs to follow up a number of times with them about that your episode is about to come out, your episode is now airing. Hey, I appreciate you coming on the show. Those are three opportunities that you have in the course of just the natural progression of how a podcast is produced and put out there to the world. The key is in the follow-up with that relationship. The key with all of them really is in the follow-up. If you're not following up, then you may as well not even do the interview. So to create a monetization monster, just to review, I want to help you get the head trash out of the way. I want you to focus just on getting someone that is of quality value in that guest seat, not focusing on the ego metric of the download or the ego metric on how do I get money from my community of anonymous people. Podcasting is a marathon, not a sprint. It takes a very long time to get that community to actually pop out of the woodwork. Again, after 1,300 episodes, it is a bear to get people, even through a really highly crafted call to action, to get them to do anything. Now, they will do something and it will happen for you. But again, that is the long tail approach to success in podcasting. Go for the gold. Build a monetization monster out of that guest seat. And I promise you, I highly encourage you to do it that way. And you will see that your show actually will begin making money very, very quickly, much more quickly than if you focus just on community growth alone. Hope that helps. Thanks again for checking it out.